To our beloved Director of Mimaropa Region, Dr. Nicolas T. Capulong, CESO 5, Attorney Suzette T. Ganaban Medina, the gorgeous Chief Administrative Officer, Office of the Assistant Regional Director, to the Muse of Region 4B, Madam Mariflor B. Musa, Chief Education Supervisor, the entire members of Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Regional Office Personnel, and SDO Chiefs of the Curriculum Implementation Division, a glorious and praiseworthy day to all of us. This recent school year undeniably overwhelmed its effect on the educational systems worldwide due to the coronavirus, which is upsetting life that caused an enduring threat to our institutions from kindergarten to tertiary level and day by day exacerbated the teaching learning. Hence, our leaders took a sensible modification of a sudden and major shift to distance learning delivery modality as the best solution in meeting the needs of our dear learners for continuing education during the pandemic. Likewise, this abrupt response of the key persons commendably facilitated our DepEd Secretary Leonor Magtolis Briones' advocacy of Sulong Edukasyon. The Schools Division of Palawan, in its commitment and passion for the value of learning, continues its effort to effectively and efficiently deliver quality basic education services through the touchstone and source of inspiration provided by its DepEd Palawan Maaasahan flagship program under the exemplary leadership of Schools Division Superintendent Roger F. Capas, CESO 6, together with the Curriculum Implementation Division through CID Chief Aurelia B. Marquez, is constantly improving management and instruction. Delightfully presents the Schools and SDO Palawan's Readiness for school year 2021-2022. The country's education delivery for the previous school year 2020-2021 has shifted substantially due to unforeseen circumstances brought by COVID-19. Remote teaching has been done to safeguard the well-being of learners and educators. The ability to engage in ongoing quality improvement of the SDO's programs is enabled by the assessment of learning outcomes. According to the results of an ECD post-test conducted in 35 districts, the majority of 22,654 kindergarten learners had an average development, while only 0.01% have significant delays in overall development. The learning outcomes of elementary learners were assessed, and the findings showed that learners in all grade levels perform better. The number of learners who need intervention, on the other hand, is significant in the inclusivity of learning. It shows that grade 1 level has the highest number of failed learners at 0.94%, followed by grade 2 at 0.83%, and grade 3 at 0.80%. For the secondary level, a total of 100,100 out of 100,979 learners passed the assessment, indicating improved performance in all secondary levels. Still, a small yet significant percentage of learners failed in the assessment. Senior high school has the highest percentage of failing learners, rating more than 1% of the total enrollees, while grade 10 learners came third at 0.68%. Education has conceived the MELTs, which trimmed down to prioritize specific skills most significant in all subjects during these trying times. However, it was found out that there were several identified list mastered or unmastered competencies that rose from the field. To mention some underlying reasons were the delay of module distribution upon implementing granular lockdowns, further commented that not all competencies have available lessons, which contributed not to master the essential skills. Likewise, other provided tasks were too many to finish ahead of time. Not to mention that we have learners who were not able to adjust immediately to independent learning modality, particularly those with difficulty in reading and understanding without anybody to extend assistance answering modules. Family socio-economic problems, lack of interest of learners to pursue modular distance learning, change of residence due to sources of livelihood, and lack of guidance and assistance to learn at home have all been identified as causes of failure in the assessment of learning outcomes. In this regard, the Curriculum Implementation Division, through the Public Schools District Supervisors, has already crafted intervention programs in a form of remediation to learners who were not able to pass the assessment both in elementary and secondary levels, which include a survey of schools with an intent of holding remedial summer classes. For grades 1 to 12, identified a number of learners per grade level and subject area this 2021. Learner success and continuous development and learning are actively promoted through assessment of learning outcomes, which provides valuable information in improving educational efforts. The previous school year was a year of resilience in the sphere of education. Despite the challenges encountered, SDO Palawan's enthusiasm and burning desire to provide access to education never wavered, and feasible alternatives were proposed to make learning relevant. In the implementation of distance learning modalities, the lack of parental support in facilitating learning at home due to a prioritization of earning a living led to the conduct of regular home visitation and monitoring of learners in need of assistance, as well as limited face-to-face PTA meetings permitted by the local IATF because schools realized the need to establish partnerships with parents and generate shared responsibility for their learners' academic performance. Teachers cannot continue to provide learning opportunities unless learners have access to self-learning modules, and with schools insufficient funds for the reproduction of SLMs and worksheets and modular printed learning, the printed booklet type of SLMs was adopted by some junior high school institutions, so as the use of set A and B schemes where half of the recovered SLMs had no perforations or answers. Schools, in promoting strong linkages, stakeholder participation, and collaboration, acknowledged donations of materials and equipment which were all used to print educational materials. Local government units also dedicated supplementary funding support to basic education, utilizing the Special Education Fund. Teachers affirmed the necessity of regular home visits and resolving any concerns learners had with SLMs and giving them enough time to completely answer their modules. The dilemma of an increasing percentage of students at risk of dropping out during the second semester has been managed to solve by strengthening the homeroom guidance program and initiating a simple memorandum of understanding between the school, parents, and learners. The 46,465 tablets provided to grades 9 to 12 learners from the Program Support Funds and Provincial Special Education Fund, which encourage independent learning as well as learners' easier doorway to virtual interaction, and online learning portals and resources, were not fully utilized in off-grid schools in modular digitized learning. To cope up with this, learners were given plenty of time to finish their tasks. With the ongoing complicated pandemic, radio-based instruction was established to ensure educational continuity by bringing lessons directly to the learners' homes. It's a viable solution to situations where online learning is not possible, and it's a great tool to narrow the gap in education and reach out to learners, especially in the most underprivileged and marginalized areas. With these advantages recognized by stakeholders, concrete support poured in from local government units and other stakeholders to combat the struggle with insufficient funds for transmitter installation, absence of permit to operate school-based radio stations, fluctuating electric power, lack of radio at home, and other issues. Indeed, stakeholders can provide resources, information, and opportunities required to support the educational system's aims, that is, ensuring that our children prosper today and in the future. Teachers were capacitated on script writing, audio recording, and broadcasting. Districts also hold a grade-level crafting of RBI materials led by master teachers and school heads, while employing teamwork to find the best approaches and resolutions, along with learning new skills and getting support from one another in achieving a common goal. The distribution of SLMs, reading passages, and home visits were hampered by the ever-increasing threats of the health crisis. so teachers resorted to other available technological platforms and enlisted the help of community and teacher volunteers to follow up and monitor the learners beyond their reach. Supervision of instruction to the island and off-grid schools via online or virtual mode took place during fair weather, while classroom observations, which enhanced the instructional skill of the teachers, were held virtually to strictly comply with minimum health protocols, and RBI demo lessons were generally used for the same. As the previous school year made an impact on learning delivery, the upcoming school year offers more opportunities for improvement, with essential adjustments proposed to address the issues highlighted by stakeholders, learners, parents, teachers, and the community alike. Here is the SDO Palawan's Learning Resources Plan for school year 2021-2022. Strategies to minimize dependence on print materials, which aim to utilize alternative learning modalities, ICT systems, and other available platforms in the delivery of basic education by maximizing the use of digitized self-learning modules under the Modular Digitized Learning through its project LRCast, where learners will use tablets to access the offline version of digitized learning materials. Maximize the implementation or adoption of blended learning modality. Increase the number of schools implementing radio-based instructions to reach out to more learners in all grade levels by downloading funds to schools for installation and test broadcast in 35 districts, including alternative learning system, and provide division contextualized and unified radio-based scripts in selected learning areas for RBI learning episodes. Create a collection of quality-assured video-recorded lessons as supplementary materials in online and offline distance learning. Adoption and utilization of school-based radio stations and two-way radio walkie-talkie to allow learners to interact, communicate, and actively participate with one another and with their teacher throughout every broadcast. SDO Palawan collaborates with its partners continually to implement many strategies for the efficient use and conservation of educational resources in its aim to ensure that learning resource materials are complete, quality assured, and utilized in schools and community learning centers. To help achieve this objective, division-initiated SLMs will be developed, enhanced, refined, and re-quality assured to meet the learning resource standards under Project LRCast. The printing and distribution of Quarter 1 SLMs will be monitored for 2 weeks prior to the start of classes. There will also be the conduct of inventory of available self-learning modules and learning activity sheets, including the retrieval of reusable ones and weekly monitoring of printing and distribution of SLMs and LAS, so as the inventory of tablets received and utilized. The collection of updated data on the status of RBI recipient schools and the conduct of inventory of available textbooks in schools. 17.01% of the 6,970 alternative learning system students in 35 districts are learning through RBI, while 82.98% are utilizing the SLMs for their learning activities. The amount downloaded from the regional office by the Curriculum and Learning Management Division to SDO Palawan were distributed to all elementary and secondary schools as additional funding for the printing of SLMs, while the ELLN, SPED, and IPED funds will be used to support each program. The maximum implementation of the K-12 basic education program serves as one of the core components of DepEd Palawan Maaasahan, which ensures the quality management of instruction in various learning delivery modalities and intervention programs. The Schools Division of Palawan shall continuously implement innovative strategies in support to its mandates on curriculum and instruction. Project CARES, Comprehensive and Alternative Resources in Educating Students. Project Nagbabasang Palawenyo, Division Flagship Reading Project to raise the reading ability and comprehension skills of learners. Gawad Aklat Award, Best in Reading Intervention Award. Project Rescue, implementation of all projects and activities lodged in CID and division-initiated activities. Project Pure, provide with understanding and revitalizing engagements. Project Drills, diverse reading interventions for lifelong learning skills. Project Balsa, boosting access on literacy and service of owls. Project Price, promoting rights-based initiatives and approaches through continuous collaboration and engagement. Project Revive, restore education vitality and innovations with vigor enrichment. Project LR Cast, learning resource collection and access to support teaching and learning. CB Duat, competency-based division unified assessment tool. Project Halal, Project Palawan Rose, Palawan revitalization of science education. Regular consultative meetings with PSDSS and school heads to collaboratively establish and explore best practices in improving educational quality and learning outcomes. And quarterly program implementation review to assess whether educational objectives have been achieved, ascertain how well programs were implemented, gain future support, and ensure its significant impact in providing strategic and management inputs to the effective realization of the basic education curriculum, even at these challenging times. Because SDO Palawan is dedicated to ensuring that education is never interrupted. No pandemic will ever be able to stop SDO Palawan from serving its learners and making learning happen in school year 2021-2022. Dahil serbisyo ay tunay na maaasahan sa DepEd Palawan. #DepEd Palawan maaasahan.